again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today there's two very special, very important things happening. One, it's the first video of 2025. Isn't that exciting? Actually, no, it's not the first video. It's the first episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. The first video was the one I did, for me it was yesterday. I guess by the time you see this it will be the other day. That's a very broad saying, the other day. That could go back to yesterday, it could go back to a year ago in Mexico, the other day. La otra día could go back a long way. El otro día. El otro día. I'm getting confused already. So that's one thing. It's the first I Want to Talk About This Album of 2025. It's also the first episode of I Want to Talk About This Album with the new camera, as I mentioned in that other video that I did for Randy singing Hard Luck Woman by Kiss. Thank you, Randy, again. That was I was standing there holding the stick like this, and I was kind of going like that. But this is the first one. To be honest, I think I'm a little bit disappointed in this camera. This is the new, and I needed a new phone. Some people get new phones because they want to be hip and trendy, and they always want the newest, most modern thing. It's the opposite for me. I don't want to buy a new phone. I had to buy a new phone. My old phone was really failing me. The stabilization was not working. It was all kind of shaky, which means I had to stabilize it manually, which took a ton of time. And it made sometimes my face look kind of wonky like this. I don't know if anybody noticed. I had some screen burn in that camera. The battery, it wasn't the battery, but the charging port was a little bit loose, I think. So when I charged it, it sometimes took me 20 or 30 minutes to try to get the two contacts, the cable and the charging port, to connect and say hello to each other. So I needed this new camera. I've only used it, this is really the first real video I've taken with it. I've only taken a few pictures. I haven't had hikes yet with this camera. The color seems a little bit off. Maybe you eagle-eyed viewers with really good color perception, you tell me, does the color look a little bit different today? It should. I'm in the same conditions as always, same time of day as always, but I feel like the colors are a little bit off with this camera. I'll have to investigate further. Are you satisfied with this video so far? God! So, but now to get to the episode, today I'm going to talk about Alice in Chains' Facelift. And the reason I sometimes, I've still got a ton of records, CDs and vinyl to get through. Records, let's call them all. And sometimes I feel like I need inspiration to talk about them. Sometimes I just am really feeling the music. Sometimes, like today, it's something else that brought up. When I did Soundgarden, I think that was the last episode I did, was Soundgarden. And I did Soundgarden, no, it was a Kiss Alive 3, I can't remember. But when I did Soundgarden, it was because they had just done that kind of a reunion show, their first show in many years. The reason I'm doing Alice in Chains' Facelift today is, and here it is, if you don't believe me after all this 3-minute introduction, the reason I'm getting to this today, and I got this again, all the records that I'm going to do over this next month, I got them a long time ago. The reason why I'm getting to this today is Alice in Chains recently came across the wire, I think is what they say. You know, in the old times, something came across the wire. Alice in Chains was in the news recently, which kind of inspired me to finally get to this record. And I'll talk about this a little bit. They came a little bit under fire for, I guess, going back to 2021 when the U.S. government was giving COVID handouts to people. It turns out that they are giving to the wrong people. And there's two aspects of this here. One is that I had no idea that Alice in Chains were so rich, or that they were so lucrative, maybe. They apparently, just before they got this 8 million, I think 8.1 million government handout in 2021, a COVID handout. Shortly before that, if I remember the story correctly, they had received $48 million. I guess they had sold their catalog. A lot of bands, I guess more bands older than Alice in Chains, have sold their catalog for vast sums of loot. And Alice in Chains sold theirs for $48 million. And I think Alice in Chains is kind of weird. I love Alice in Chains. First, I always say, my God, I love Alice in Chains. But I never knew that they were that big. That they could sell their music for $48 million. They were never like a headlining, they were a headlining band, but they were never like an arena band. They never really had a hit. They had a few songs, maybe that got some radio play, Wood, and God, I don't even know what Alice in Chains on. Maybe a Man in the Box. The video is on a little bit. So they sold their catalog, I think, for $48 million, if I have it correct. And then like a month later, they had an $8 million or $8.1 million COVID handout from the US government. And isn't it funny that the richest people, the people that need the money the least, get the most? I guess that's the way it goes. So they got like $8 million or $8.1 million from the government. And apparently what made this newsworthy was they misspent alleged. They're alleged to have misspent or what's the word? Misappropriated those funds, I guess. They're supposed to use it, I guess, to pay for crew and health issues and things like that. And apparently they kept it for clothing and sushi and caviar and stuff like that. I don't know if it was really that. But Jerry Cantrell is alleged to have kept like, I think, $2 million of that. Maybe not $2 million, but $1.5 million. I think Sean Kinney is alleged to have kept around the same amount. Mike Inez got, I think, around half that. No mention of William Duvall. Maybe he washed his hands of that. And apparently they had a crew member who was sick, not with COVID, but with, I think he had cancer. And apparently they didn't give him, or they didn't allot any of that money that they got from the government to their crew or to anybody else. They just pocketed, according to news reports. And this is from like Forbes or Business Insider or like some, some source who kind of knows what they're talking about. And so that's why Alice in Chains was in the news. And that kind of made me think, I got an Alice in Chains album that I have yet to talk about. And I still have yet to talk about. This video is probably 6 minutes in now, and I still haven't mentioned anything about this album, Facelift. So I will talk about this now, or about Alice in Chains now. I haven't done Alice in Chains in I Want to Talk About This Album. I did it before this series, or is it a podcast? This podcast, whatever, was rebranded as I Want to Talk About This Album. I called it I Love This Album, but I thought that restricted me too much because sometimes I was going to talk about albums that I didn't necessarily love. In some cases, Peter Criss 1978 solo albums I hated. And in some cases, it's albums that I just wasn't familiar with, so I rebranded it as I Want to Talk About This Album. And so I did do Dirt. And I believe I said at the time that I was kind of went between, what do I like more, Dirt or Facelift? It's similar to And Justice for All, and Master of Puppets, and Rain and Blood, and South of Heaven. And then at some point, after many years, you sometimes realize, no, I clearly like this one better. And so I think I mentioned I like that Facelift and Dirt. God, which one is better? Listening to this album recently, I've listened to it, I think, 3 times over the last couple of days in full. I like Dirt way better. That's not to say that I don't love Facelift, because I do. But it became very, very apparent to me in recent days after listening to Facelift in full, and I do love Facelift. My God, I love Facelift. But oh my God, Dirt is close to being a top 10 album ever by any band. But Facelift is very, very good. And a little bit of my history with Alice in Chains. I got Facelift. Now I do have a little prop here before I get to the record. I've also got the CD, my original CD, and I've shown these occasionally. And I used to write, almost always, I did forget sometimes to write the date on this. And so when I look back on this, I had written in this that I got this on May, it's either 14th or 19th, 1991 was when I got the original version of Facelift on CD. And I saw them, I've only seen Alice in Chains twice. The first time was, I guess shortly after this, I think it was July when, they played on the Clash of the Titans tour with Slayer, Anthrax, and Megadeth, and Alice in Chains opened. It was supposed to be Death Angel. They had that bad bus crash. I think that's how it went. And Alice in Chains replaced Death Angel, which I think was better for everybody, probably except Death Angel. So when I saw Alice in Chains in the opening slot on the Clash of the Titans tour, man, I was already into them, and I really, really loved them. The only time I saw them after that was a couple years later on Lollapalooza. They were headlining in I think that was 93, the 93 version of Lollapalooza. And God, my hands are freezing. To be honest, it's not that they weren't good, but Alice in Chains, as much as I love them, as I mentioned earlier, they were never a headline band, an arena headline band. They were never a band that, live got a lot of attention. I think Soundgarden was like that too. Soundgarden had a much, much bigger hit single than Alice in Chains did, at least with Black Hole Sun. And I guess that was it, Black Hole Sun. But I do love Alice in Chains, but similar to Soundgarden, I guess I'm trying to find similarities because they're both from Seattle, both from more or less the same era. I love them, and similar again to Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. Metal, this Facelift and Dirt, and I guess even the next album, which was just self-titled, and Alice in Chains is a metal band. Nobody can dispute that. They're heavy metal, man. They're not, Judas Priest or Iron Maiden, but for that time, 1991 when this record came out, and 93 when Dirt came out, and 95 when the self-titled Tripod album came out, Alice in Chains was a metal band, and man, they were so weird and dark and similar to Soundgarden. They didn't sound like Soundgarden at all, but they were just, they had really no business being as big as they were. And they were pretty big, but they're kind of a weird band. They had a lot of songs that were, including on this album, that were really moody, had a real dark vibe, atmosphere to them. Some might say creepy. I try to avoid that word. But man, I love Facelift. It's a really, really good album. Even the album cover, looking at it, I don't know who this, I don't know if it's Jerry Cantrell or if it's just, I don't think it's a model, but it's so weird and so scary. In this back photo, they're covered in some kind of, looks like they're in a pool, and they're trapped under the surface of the water, I guess, with saran wrap or some kind of cellophane. And they appear to be drowning and in distress. This is a very, very dark album, and visually with the album cover and with that picture, it reminds me of, I don't know if anybody remembers, there used to be, for anybody that's watching from Toronto, and I don't think there's anybody, there used to be, there still is a station called City TV. Now it's Channel 57, it used to be Channel 79, and they used to have late great movies. God, I'm getting off topic. Every Friday, or maybe Saturdays too. I remember there was a movie that seemed that it was always on called The Legacy of Maggie Walsh. I think Roger Daltrey was in it. And man, that movie in like 1980, 81, 79 maybe just scared the hell out of me. There was a scene in a swimming pool where the guy dove into the pool, and when he came up to try to surface, the surface of the pool was like glass or something you couldn't get through. That always reminded me of that, The Legacy of Maggie Walsh. So yeah, so what a great heavy album this is. Their logo's cool. Also kind of fit the vibe of the band. Now I have to say, when I first heard Alice in Chains, the name, I thought that name sucks for a band. It just sounded too, and they used to spell it the hair metal way. Alice, I think it was N apostrophe. I think Chains had a Z or Z, as we Canadians say, Z on the end. Very, very hair metal thing to do that. And they did used to be, I guess just like Pantera went through that phase that they were kind of, whatever, hair metal, glam terror, people like to call that, or like to call them. And Alice in Chains had that phase too, where they were hair farmers, I guess is what a lot of people would say. But man, this is a great record. And I will talk about it right now. And this is another one, just like other ones I've talked about. I feel like and there's no hype sticker on this, and I guess it's just regular black vinyl. Sometimes the albums that I love the most are, I feel, the ones that are maybe the most difficult to talk about. We'll see what happens with this. Now this is on, something that I don't like about this on vinyl, this was in the days when CDs, were in vogue. And I guess this record is around, it's in the 60-minute range. Bad Motorfinger is too, although Bad Motorfinger is just one record. This is two. It is two, yeah, although it's not a gatefold. And listen to this as an actual record, not digitally, but the actual physical record of it. It's such a drag to listen to 3 songs. I always listen to all my music lying down in bed with headphones, and getting up every 3 songs to change it, you need to set aside a whole day to listen to this record. But I guess it sounds better. So it's side A, B, C, D are all 3 songs each. I can remove this plastic cellophane, and let's see what's inside. All right, so it's the same, much. It's cool seeing this picture large. And you know what? I always thought that this was. I guess this is Mike. No, not Mike. This is Mike Starr, who died. I always thought he looked like Dizzy Dean Davidson. Remember the guy? Remember Brittany Fox? In this picture, I always thought he looked like the singer from Brittany Fox. All right, and all right, the lyrics for, I guess that's the first record, and it is black. Let me see what it looks like. That's just a simple black label. Yeah, that's the first record, and the second one is, it's just like the back album cover, and lyrics on both. I always appreciate that. This had, it's got a bunch of thank yous. I don't know if the CD had that in. Man, I used to, even at this point, I was, I guess, 21 when I got this record. I still used to love to sit and pore. That's P-O-R-E, pore over the liner notes and the thank yous. Oh yeah, okay, so this does have it. There it is there. I don't remember. I haven't actually physically taken this CD out in years and years. Let me get to this. All right, so, well, there it is. You've seen it now. So going through this track by track, the first song is, it's We Die Young, and oh my God, this is a heavy metal song, man. This is real heavy metal. Not the classic heavy metal, but this is just really heavy stuff. And it's a short song, similar to Them Bones, which was on Dirt, the next record. Short, heavy, Scary's on the wall. Scary's on his way. Watch where you spit. Watch where you spit. I'd advise you wait until it's over. Then you got hit, and you should have known better. And we die young. Faster we run. Down, you're rolling. Watch the blood float in the muddy sewer, and take another hit, and bury your brother. Another alley trip, bullets seek the place to bend you over. Then you got hit, and you should have known better. Faster we ran and we dying. That's a pure heavy metal song. Already we've got a contender for it. And I'm not sure what is my favorite on this record. There are some real strong contenders, but We Die Young is just incredible song. Next is Man in the Box. You know, this is the first, probably like a lot of people, Man in the Box was the first Alice in Chains song that I ever heard, and I didn't love it when I first heard. I thought, and it was kind of weird. You know, they were different. They were not like, this was when music was kind of changing. It was 1990. I guess I heard the song in late 90 or early 91. If I got the record in May 91, I must have heard Man in the Box probably in earlier 91. I don't know when the record came out. Sometime in 1990, probably late 1990. And I thought, oh, Man in the Box is kind of cool. I did like their look and their overall sound, but I didn't love Man in the Box. And similar to drawing another parallel between Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, regardless of the fact that they're both from Seattle and, you know, that they have some ties together. I mentioned how Jesus Christ Pose has no business being it wasn't a hit single, but it was kind of somewhat of a signature song for them. Same with Man in the Box. You know, the lyrics are a little bit, shove my nose in shit. They say the word shit, although it was edited in the video for spit. And they also mention Jesus Christ in here. Jesus Christ. Deny your maker. And it's very different than the Man in the Box, which is kind of a little bit, it's not like a fast song, but it is more up-tempo, a real headbanger. This is kind of slow. It's got the talk box, which I guess, I don't know where they got that idea from or you know, what the inspiration was, but the two songs, or I guess three songs with talk box. The first one I think of course, is Scorpions, The Zoo, Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer, and Peter Frampton. I think it was using that talk box. I think that's a voice box, talk box, I think. And so Alice in Chains used that on Man in the Box. I love that song now, but that one took a little bit of time to grow on me. Next is Sea of Sorrow. Dun, dun, dun. of destructive taste. Why you? I choose to stroll amongst the waste that was your heart, lost in the dark, call off the chase. You opened fire, and your mark was true. You opened fire, aim my smiling skull at you. I live tomorrow, you I'll not follow as you wallow in a sea of sorrow. Great song, very heavy. It's got that real Alice in Chains style to it. Sea of Sorrow. I was going to say Man of Sorrow. Sea of Sorrow is fantastic. Next is Bleed the Freak. This was one I remember when I first got this record. My friend Pete, who I've mentioned numerous times, I remember mentioning to him, man, Bleed the Freak, that's the greatest song title that I've ever heard. I think even before I heard the record, I knew the song title, Bleed the Freak, and loved it. I don't know what it means, Bleed the Freak, but I think it's great and very representative of Alice in Chains. My cup runneth over, my cup runneth over. Like blood from a stone, these stand for me. Name your God and bleed the freak. I'd like to see how you all would bleed for me. If you scorn my, when the pig runs slower, let the arrow fly. When the sin lies bolder, I'll pluck out thine eye. They say thine for God's sake. This is like Soundgarden doing Begat. Alice in Chains, maybe channeling a little bit of Shakespeare here. They say, I'll pluck out thine eye. These stand for me, name your God and bleed the freak. If you scorn my lover, Satan got your thigh. It's always good to have a little bit of a satanic, or at least a mention of Satan, Beelzebub, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. If you scorn my lover, Satan got your thigh. If you steal and hunger, I will kick you when you try. And it's got that great backing vocal, Jerry Cantrell. I will kick you when you, and then Jerry Cantrell, when you try. Love it. And Alice in Chains was really, really good at that. These real heavy songs, but really, really nice melodic kind of backing vocals. Bleed the Freak is a great example of that. Next is I Can't Remember. Very, very, which one is this? Turn around, you say, excuse the toot, but I haven't eaten today. And your eyes are turning gray. What's your name? I can't remember. Bring me down, you try. Feel the pain and keep it all in till you die. Without eyes, you cannot try. Who's to blame? I can't remember. Love it. Next is Love, Hate, Love. This is I don't think it's quite my favorite, but I think this is the again, with Soundgarden, I mentioned Slaves and Bulldozers. Not my favorite. That's like the centerpiece of the record. I think it's probably the best song, the best representation, like their signature song. Because this is kind of Love, Hate, Love is a little bit long. It's very dark. It's got Alice in Chains. All the signature things about Alice in Chains are all over this song. It's slow, heavy, brooding, maybe is a good word to describe it. I tried to love you, thought I could. I tried to own you, I thought I would. I want to peel the skin from your face before the real you lays to waste. You told me I'm the only one. Sweet little angel, you should have run. Lying, crying, dying to live. Dying to leave or dying to live? Innocence creates my hell. Amazing song. I know I say it a lot, but it's true. It's an amazing song. And then it kind of ends, and then it comes crashing back in. Lane Staley screaming, love, hate, love. Love, hate, love. And then there's another, I think, a false ending, and then again, love, hate, love. Very dark, heavy. Maybe the song that most represents Alice in Chains. Not quite my favorite. Maybe at some point it probably was, but Love, Hate, Love is a phenomenal song. Record 2. Let me do this. Yeah. It Ain't Like That. Oh my God, this big bending. I don't know if it's a riff. I guess it's not a riff. Just this big bending note. there I was laid out on a table, screaming, sweating, bare feet to the floor. In my life I've not softened things that cut and burn so often, but I sit, think of something, scared to face the dying nothing. See the cycle I've waited for, it ain't like that anymore. This got that real chugging, slow, heavy Alice in Chains vibe and sound to it. Maybe this, I don't know if this is my favorite. Like I said, hard to pick one. But It Ain't Like That is, I keep saying the same words, but I love all these songs. Next is Sunshine. This one is a little bit different. This is a little bit, maybe it's because it's called Sunshine, and it kind of conjures a certain image to it. This one sounds a little bit, all these songs are pretty dark so far. Sunshine, I think musically, maybe not lyrically, but musically, it's a little bit, it's not happier, it's a little bit more, it's not softer. Is there a word to describe this song? It just sounds a little bit nicer, let's say. It's still a heavy song. One time, yeah. Am I too contagious, full of sick desire? Then some dude came down to touch the mother touch. Dude ain't here no more. Ain't no day the sun don't crack to brand some name across my back, and you care. Find someone to tell you. Sunshine. Sweet Love, My Labor. Love that song. These videos are so stupid. Next is, I'm glad that Mike Pratt is the only one listening to this. I have a feeling that Mike Pratt does, at least to some extent, likes Alice in Chains. Next is Put You Down. This also a little bit, I feel like this was maybe an older song, maybe when they were still in their kind of hair metal phase. This song is not hair metal, but it doesn't have the Alice in Chains sound that the first 6 or 7 songs had. This also has that great, similar to Love Hate, not Love Hate Love. What song had the great backing vocals that I just mentioned? Put You Down had that too. I can't see. Is this? No, hold on. I'm not sure. I'm getting lost here a little bit. I think I'm conflating 2 songs. But yeah, Put You Down is pretty good. Maybe of the ones so far, maybe my least favorite. Put You Down. Although I do still like it. Next is Confusion, Love, Sex, Pain, Confusion, Suffering. This is back to the real Alice in Chains. Musically and lyrically, this is a very dark song. Love, Sex, Pain, Confusion, Suffering. You're there crying, I feel not a thing. Drilling my way deeper in your head. Sinking, draining, drowning, bleeding, dead. Yeah, Confusion is good too. The next song, this is kind of a weird song. I Know Something, parentheses, About You. 2 things I don't like about this. You know I hate parentheses. And also, it's not I know something about you, it's about you. And I think, are they missing the apostrophe in about you? Where's the actual record? God, where is it? Okay, ha. Very important. Yeah, they're missing the apostrophe. So it's I know something. It should be I know something about you, or I know something parentheses apostrophe about you. But it's not. It's just I know something about you. For that and that alone, I don't like this song. But it does also. This is maybe the least Alice in Chains song on the record. It's kind of it's also I know something. They're missing 2 apostrophes here. Disgraceful. How are the youth of today supposed to learn about how to spell? Without proper punctuation marks. But this has a weird kind of funky, jangly, non-Alice in Chains riff, the beginning. It's okay. Maybe this is my least favorite. What did I say? This one or Put You Down are my 2 least favorite. But I still do like them. And then the last song is Real Thing. Not The Real Thing, like the Faith No More album and song. And The Real Thing by Faith No More. The song is one of the top 10, I think, for me, greatest songs ever recorded. This is just Real Thing. This is, again, real Alice in Chains. I messed around as a little boy. I grew up and made the blade my little toy. They said, son, I grew up and made the blade my little toy. They said, son, with what you're screwing around. I said, don't concern yourselves and just give it another blast. Yeah. I grew up when this is real Alice in Chains song, a very grungy, dirty. I think this song is probably a good example of what people that liked hair metal at that time, or cock rock, whatever you call it, glam metal, hard rock. They didn't like lyrics like this. I grew up, went into rehab. The doctors never did me no good. What was it? I grew up, went into rehab. The doctors never did me no good. They said, son, you're going to be a new man. I said, thank you very much, and can I borrow $50? Very, very, again, lyrically a dark song. Oh, I see Lane Staley wrote the lyrics here to this, not surprising. Under the Hill, with just a kind of maybe a little bit of foreshadowing lyrics. I guess it's about the song Dying Young is less about dying young, I think, than this is. Under the Hill, with just a few notches on my belt. Take it away, don't want no more. Even if you say just one more time, I won't leave you alone. Because I'm going down the steps on a white line. I think this is a very drug influenced song lyrically. But I love the real thing. This is also a contender for, so it ends on a good note. One of the contenders also for my favorites on this album. Yeah, hard to pick one. Bleed the Freak could be another one. Yeah, We Die Young, Bleed the Freak, Love, Hate, Love, Real Thing. Maybe those are one of my favorites. I don't know, but that is it. I stumbled and bumbled and I made my way through it, or maybe not. Thank you for watching. Hiking videos should resume, I guess, this week. The hike next week, normally it's on Monday. The hike, I guess for you when you're watching this, is going to be on Wednesday, January 8th. Maybe that hiking video, for those who care. I know Mr. Randy, he likes the hiking videos. And Max Bauer, haven't heard from him for a while. I think he's in Korea. He really likes the hiking videos. So stay tuned for that. And but again, thank you for watching. And this was Alice in Chains Facelift.